Welcome back. You're watching News 9. This is Morning Brief at 9. Let's look at the global stories that we're tracking for you today. Now, just days after meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska, US President Donald Trump posted a brief message on his Truth Social account on Sunday, hinting at a significant development related to Russia. President Trump wrote, and I quote, "Big progress on Russia, stay tuned," without offering any further details. Now, the post has fueled speculation that the US president may be referring to a possible security guarantees for Ukraine, as it coincided with reports from Trump envoy Steve Witkoff stating that during the talks, Putin signaled that he would be open to allowing the US and its European allies to offer Ukraine a NATO-style security guarantee. Now, the two presidents spoke for 3 hours and highlighted some points of agreement, but no major breakthrough was reached to end the conflict that has caused tens of thousands of deaths and widespread destruction in Ukraine. Remember, this was the first instance where Putin was allowed on Western soil since he ordered the invasion of Ukraine in February of 2022. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump also said late Sunday that Ukraine leader Volodymyr Zelenskyy could choose to end the war with Russia almost immediately, but retaking Russian-occupied Crimea or joining NATO are off the table. Now, President Zelenskyy of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to. That is what Donald Trump said. He also said, or he can continue to fight. Now, Trump posted on the Truth Social platform on the eve of the White House meeting with the Ukrainian president, as well as other European leaders who are joining into that meeting in Washington, slated on Monday, U.S. time. And European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen welcomed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy at the EU Commission's head office in Brussels on Sunday, as she and several other European leaders announced that they will accompany him to meet US President Donald Trump in Washington on Monday. Now, the delegation aims to find a way to end the long-standing conflict between Russia and Ukraine.
I'm very glad that I'm able to accompany you and other European leaders for the meeting tomorrow that we do have with the US President in the White House. With regards to any territorial questions in Ukraine, our position is clear. International borders cannot be changed by force. These are decisions to be made by Ukraine and Ukraine alone. And these decisions cannot be taken without Ukraine at the table.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen there, standing literally next to the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, showing her support to the state. Meanwhile, other leaders expected to travel to the US include German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, as well as French President Emmanuel Macron and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. But staying with that story, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Sunday warned of consequences, including the potential imposition of new sanctions on Russia if no peace deal is reached on Ukraine ahead of the key meeting at White House expected today. Now, if we are not going to be able to reach an agreement here at any point, then there are going to be consequences. That's exactly what Marco Rubio told US broadcaster NBC, adding, and I quote, that not only the consequences of the war continuing, but the consequences of all those actions continuing and potentially new sanctions on top of it as well, unquote. Listen in. And Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy on Sunday hailed the decision by Washington to offer security guarantees to Ukraine, speaking at a day ahead of his meeting in Washington with US President Donald Trump. Zelenskyy said, and I quote, "Security guarantees as a result of our joint work must really be very practical, delivering protection on land, in the air and at sea, and must be developed with Europe's participation," unquote. Now, Zelenskyy's message came after a video conference earlier on Sunday of a group of Ukraine's allies in Europe, including leaders of Britain, France, as well as Germany.